But we can't gloss over the fact that Katie just called a soda pop pop.
Telling you from a pop region and I just can't do it. It's so weird.
Hey y'all, it's LJ here, owner and founder of Smart Moms Plan Disney and Smart Moms Travel. We are so glad you're here for another episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. Now, here's your host, Allie.
Hey there, everyone. What's up? This is Allie. Welcome to the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. I am here today with Becki and Katie. Good morning, girls.
Hello, hello.
Hi, friends.
We are going to be doing something pretty fun today because we, as a podcast team, through our agency, Smart Moms Travel, were gifted this awesome experience trip that one of us, no spoiler alerts yet, was allowed to go on. And if you follow us on social media, you probably actually saw our podcast friend that went on this trip as she recapped everything in real time, but she got to use and experience the dining plan firsthand in a very special way with Disney at the helm. And now today we get to sit together and talk about some really exciting just strategies that worked for her and tips that worked for her that maybe you can pocket when you are either deciding whether you want to use the dining plan or if you already have the dining plan, how you're going to best use it. And we already did an episode on the Disney dining plan. So if you haven't already listened to that, I highly encourage you to go back and listen and then listen to this one sort of as a part 2 add-on. So other one is sort of an overview of what the dining plan is, which we'll touch a little bit on here, but this is mostly a tips and strategies episode. So I'm really excited to dive in and figure out how best to use this. But before we do, Becki and Katie, how are you guys doing today?
It feels like summer's over. It feels like once the 4th of July hits, it's just like downhill to back to school. And I actually was on social media this morning and saw one of my friends already had their kid taking their back to school picture with their backpack on. And I'm like, it's July. How are we going back to school already?
Yeah, I just saw somebody at a school sporting event last night. And when we said hello, we hadn't seen each other in a while. She said, summer's over. And it sort of caught me by surprise because my mind wasn't really there yet, you know? But she was like, hey, how are you? Summer's over. And I was like, oh my gosh, it really, really is. And as we record this episode, it's not quite there yet, but definitely as you're listening, it's over. We're done.
Yeah, I would say that we're feeling that a little bit. My eldest had to be in summer school this year. And so she had several weeks of summer school and she was like, why am I going to summer school? This is like an extension of the regular school year, right? But now that she's out and she's getting to enjoy her break, we're already thinking about, we're going to be back to school in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, and probably as listeners are hearing this already back, right? So
Yeah.
it's time. It's back to school shopping and it's great though. I like this time of year. Do you guys remember that commercial that used to be for school supplies where the dad was riding the cart through the aisles and the kids were mad and the song Most Wonderful Time of the Year was playing?
Yes. I feel that in my soul, like when you walk into Walmart, as soon as 4th of July is over, it's like pencils and erasers and glue sticks. And then you almost start seeing Halloween get sprinkled in as well. It's just like,
Oh yeah.
it's crazy how retailers do that, but
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
We're definitely already ready for Halloween here. We love Halloween in the Midwest. It's our favorite time of year. Well, that's probably not true, but it's one of our favorite times of year. And we have one of those 6-foot skeletons that we put in our front yard. And this year they released a companion Great Dane dog skeleton for the skeleton in your yard, but it's very hard to find. So we are on the mad hunt to get this Great Dane because my family has a Great Dane, 6-foot skeleton Dane to put in our yard.
So Costco sells, like people scout out Costco's drops for Halloween things. And they have this amazing Mickey entryway one this year that looks like it's going to welcome you to come trick or treat at your doorstep. But they also have what's starting to look like Christmas Village accessories, but for Halloween.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just bought Macy for her 18th birthday. Yes, I'm that mom that bought my 18-year-old a Halloween Village piece. I don't know. It was a pirate ship and it had Mickey and Goofy and Huey, Dewey, and Louie on it. I'm just like, how do I not buy it for her? She's a Halloween kid. She loves Huey, Dewey, and Louie. She loves Halloween everything. She just had her birthday. She just turned 18. Oh my gosh, she just turned 18. And her birthday party was Summerween themed. So everybody came dressed for Halloween and it was awesome.
I saw your posts for her 18th and it was so sweet and sad. I have an October birthday, and so we capitalized on Halloween just naturally all the time. Like I've had many costume parties, and Pin the Wart on the Witch games have been played. And, it's part of the reason I guess maybe I love that time of year. But so sorry, I'm shifting back here to thinking about dining. And I could talk about Halloween all day. When you go to Disney World, where do you like to eat? Like, because you're locals, do you ever just go to eat? Because I sit at home and I dream about going to Disney World, and I crave certain things that I order when I go.
Yeah, we go to Disney to eat on occasion. But we love Disney food. And so we do go and, grab one of those last minute dining reservations. I know those dining reservations are so hard to snag at the 60-day mark, but as locals that go pretty often, a lot of those hard to get reservations are available day of. Like just be a little patient if you don't get exactly what you wanted. But our favorite place to go eat, that probably changes depending on who's with me, right? Matt and I have had an incredible date at 50's Primetime Cafe. I think I love that one for the comfort food, and also, I don't know, it's like a spoofy dining kind of funny place to eat, right? So it was a hilarious experience, and we love the food. But my kids would probably tell you that they love character dining best. They love the opportunity to meet the princesses. I would probably tell you, my kids would say storybook dining with Snow White's probably their favorite.
Yeah. What do you order there?
Oh man, it is literally all good. I like the pork shank with the mashed potatoes. It's great. But they also have this vegetarian gnocchi that is out of this world good. I love it. So, what about you?
Yeah, I've had both of those things, but I actually dream about that mushroom soup appetizer.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's really good. I mean, I don't like mushrooms, but the mushroom soup app is like, holy moly.
That's hilarious. I'm hoping to talk about this a little bit more later in the episode, but I find that Disney is the place where I want to go try things that I don't normally like. And again, like mushroom soup is not something that I would go out of my way for, but at Disney, I'm happy to try it.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Becki? What's your favorite?
Oh, choosing a favorite restaurant at Disney feels so wrong because there is so much good food, but I'm the kind of person who has a favorite that's situational. Where am I? Before I'm going to say what my favorite is. Chef Art Smith's Homecoming at Disney
Oh,
Springs is
so good.
so good. So good. They have a moonshine flight there that it just pairs so well with so many of their dishes. I actually really love their deviled eggs as well. But if I was to say my one favorite Disney sit down restaurant, I would have to say Trattoria Al Forno. Their lasagna, ugh, my mouth waters. Like it's seriously watering as I'm sitting here thinking about it. Trattoria,
I was going to say the same thing, which is hilarious because there are a million amazing restaurants and experiences at Disney World. And I'm not even going to change my answer. I'm right there with you. I love it for the experience that it is for my family. Like, if this is a personal question, where do I like to eat? I love Trattoria because I love being on the boardwalk. I love the entertainment. I love the lasagna. Give me that lasagna and a glass of wine on the boardwalk. Are you kidding me?
oh yeah.
That's the best way.
I'm calling a hard stop on that, Allie Thomas. I know that your favorite place to eat is a different restaurant.
I do love the Boathouse, and I love the truffle fries, and it's amazing. And I know that's what you're talking about, and I've talked about it on the show. But just as I was sitting here, my heart immediately said Trattoria, and the last couple of times we've gone to Disney, that actually has been our shining moment for food and for experience, and so I'm going to stick with it. Plus, their breakfast is really good,
It really is those fluffy pancakes.
and
Oh my
it's cheap.
gosh.
The breakfast there is so
It's so cheap.
expensive.
I know. So Katie, you just said 50's prime time. Sean will not let us go to 50's prime time.
What? Why?
He refuses to have an aunt giving him a hard time about not eating his greens. He
Oh,
refuses. He's just like, that is so uncomfortable for me. And I'm just like,
that's so funny.
I love it.
50's Primetime is one of the only places we would eat when I was growing up like regularly. It's the one I remember we would go to probably every trip. And so I have a bit of a nostalgia there for it. But kind of as an adult, the food to me, my experiences with food have just been not very good there.
Oh, that really surprises me because everything there we were like so happy with. I could take more. Like, let's
The fried
go. We
chicken was
love.
decent, but not, the best I've ever had.
Okay. I'll give it to you. We just it was a hilarious time. I remember there was a waiter sitting at the table beside us and it was the girl's birthday and he was spoon feeding her. It was hilarious. Everyone around was just dying laughing. It was hilarious. But I will say one of the shticks at 50s primetime is you can get a sticker if you clear your plate. And Matt and I, being in our mid 30s, were like, oh, we gotta earn that sticker. I'm like, I need this sticker as a 30 something.
Meanwhile, you can get free stickers literally around every corner at Disney World.
Yeah, well, you can't get the free 50s primetime sticker unless you clear your plate.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to be talking dining plan. What is it? How can you best use it with the strategies that one of us put into play on a recent trip?
Hi, Smarties. Carla here from the podcast. You hear us talking about the right way to do Disney, but let's be honest. Taking notes isn't exactly easy while you're busy momming and on the go. There's an easy way to get all of those tips organized to simplify your vacation. Check out our 4-part guide bundle available now in our Patreon shop. Also, if getting guides is something you like to help with your planning, joining our Patreon as a Diamond Mine subscriber gives you a new Disney guide every month. Either way, we have got your back on knowing how to plan your park days so you feel like the expert before you walk in the gates.
Okay, Disney dining plan. Again, if you haven't listened to our previous episode, sort of breaking down what it is, I highly encourage it because we're going to do the lightning lane version of what dining plan is right now. Disney offers 2 plans. They have the Disney dining plan and the quick service dining plan. Each one operates very similarly with what Disney calls credits, dining credits. The Disney quick service dining plan gives your family, anybody aged 3 and up, on your package. Everybody has to have it. If you add it to your package, can't add it for just one adult and one kiddo. It has to be for everyone. And everyone will receive 2 quick service credits, 1 snack credit, and 1 resort refillable mug. And the credits are allotted per night of stay. So if you have a 5-night trip, you're getting 10 quick service credits and 5 snack credits. And then that refillable mug at your resort for your entire length of stay. The Disney dining plan also operates in dining credits allotted per night of stay, but the allotment is a little different. So you have 1 sit-down service credit, 1 quick service credit, 1 snack credit per night per person, and then, of course, that resort refillable mug. So they sort of all enter like a credit bank in your app, in your My Disney Experience app, which is the thing you need to survive at Disney World. When you check out at sit-down restaurants or quick service spots or snack spots, you can charge to a credit instead of a form of payment. And all of your credits are prepaid. Can't roll them over or anything. So you do want to be very strategic in how and where you're going to use them and get your best monetary value, which we really did talk a lot about in the previous dining plan episode. But to me, the dining plan, you can definitely save. And we're going to talk about that for sure. But the most exciting thing about the dining plan, and Katie and Becki, correct me if you feel differently or just add your thoughts, but more than saving, it's about the prepaying an expense you need regardless.
Yeah, I would agree entirely. It's all about the convenience of it. I do love the dining plan as a budgeting tool, but I think more so than even necessarily the money savings angle is just the ability to fully unplug on your vacation. Being able to not have to worry about the sticker shock of or the bill coming at the end of your meal, just fully enjoying it. So I would say that the dining plan is great to really vacation on vacation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Katie, you were our podcast member that went on this dining plan trip to really use the dining plan in a way that wasn't just let me build a trip for my family, but it was let me build a trip to maximize the dining plan. Because when any of us go and we're using the dining plan, like most of the time we're going and we're building a trip for our family and where do our kids want to eat and things like that. This was truly I get these credits and I get to try to be the most strategic I possibly can with them. And you went and you had the full Disney dining plan included in your resort package stay, which was really exciting and so fun to sort of watch which restaurants and meals you decided to do. Was Katie, would you say that choosing the meals, did it feel differently knowing that you had the dining plan and that you weren't going to be paying out of pocket at the restaurant for any of these things?
Yes, this was amazing. So let me just start by saying one of the reasons that I was chosen to get to go was because they were looking for someone who was a Disney dining plan newbie, someone who had never done the Disney dining plan themselves before. And that was me. So I was really excited to get to go and experience it. Obviously, we know a lot about it as travel agents, but to be able to experience it firsthand and see the value of that really changed a lot of my perspectives on it. To be able to fully enjoy everything that we're doing here, it was great. But you're right, whenever we're making those choices of where we get to eat on vacation or what you're choosing off the menu, if you're sitting at home at a restaurant, do you choose immediately, I'm going to go to the most expensive restaurant in town, or do you go to one that's probably a little bit more safe on your budget?
Yeah.
I think that that is 100% how it's going to be, Katie, thinking like I get to eat somewhere that I might not have ever done before. And I actually did something like this outside of Disney this last weekend, and it made me feel very nostalgic to the Disney dining plan. We went to a crab boil and upgraded to like the snow crab because when there, why not when it's included in the price kind of thing. And so
Mhm.
that stress level of I'm going to try something that I wouldn't have tried before.
Right. Yeah. I definitely I chose restaurants that I didn't normally get to go to, but I also chose menu items that I wouldn't typically eat because, if it's coming out of your own pocket, you're usually skimming the menu and you're like, "Oh, I'd like steak, but steak is going to be $25, so we're probably not doing that. Maybe I'll get the chicken today."
Yeah, exactly.
But with the Disney dining plan, you're able to say, "Ha, steak is already paid for."
Exactly. Yeah. If you have such a clear head when you're ordering and you have the Disney dining plan, you're like, I already paid for this. I want the most expensive filet. Like you bring that here now.
Yes,
And
yes, that's
And
exactly
when
it.
you do that, though, it's not like you paid for that. When you're paying for the Disney dining plan in terms of value, you're not paying the top meal price for every meal, and that's how it's priced out. So doing that at most of your meals is actually how you're going to save. You're going to sit down as a family of four and have a bill at a restaurant that's like $270, and that's going to have already been paid for. That is such a relief. And I want to be really clear about something I said a few moments ago. I said you can't roll credits over. What I meant by that specifically is back in the day, you could combine, that's for some Disney veterans, you could combine credits to create table service, or you could roll table service and unravel them into quick service, or you can't do anything like that. Like your credits are for what they're for, and you can't save them for a future vacation. They expire at the end of your vacation. So that's what I meant by that, but they can roll over in your trip. They all go into your My Disney Experience account on check-in day to use throughout the entirety of your vacation. So if you use a lot in one day, you may need to use not very many the next. So that's kind of where that strategy comes in. I want to make sure I was clear. But another thing that's very surprising, and we talked about this on the other episode as well, so I'll just briefly mention it, what the meal includes when you have these credits. Quick service meal, you're going to get your entree and a beverage. And a table service meal is going to include entree, dessert, and beverage, or like a buffet and a family style meal and your beverage, depending on where you're eating. But the shiny star moment there for me is that the beverage, even on the quick service dining plan, can include and be a single serving alcoholic beverage. That's a huge deal if you're if you're an adult 21 and over. And for any age, it can be a smoothie, which can be very expensive. And so these are the things that I just think you need to know when you are going to strategize where and how you're going to use them, and just knowing how you can get the most value, but also still fall into that. This is an all-inclusive feel and it feels great.
I want to lean into that premium sort of beverage choice there a little bit. Obviously, for guests over age 21, it's a great savings to be able to include an alcoholic beverage with your meal. I mean, gosh, I was looking at my receipt for Tep and Edo. The cost of my sake alone was $19. Like, if I would have been paying that out of pocket, I'm probably not ordering the sake that day.
Right.
But it's great. I love that it was included. So we were able to say yes to what we wanted more often. Isn't vacation about going and having the yes experience? That's what I want. I want to be able to go and enjoy to the fullest. So I loved that aspect. But even like you said, if you're not drinking an alcoholic drink, you can get the smoothie. You can get the milkshake. In your day-to-day life, how often do your kids get milkshakes?
Very rare. In fact, I'm at the point that I'm like, are you sure you need a soda? Like, let's just have water. Being the yes mom, man, I love that
Yes.
feeling.
And you can tell them have a milkshake every day.
Yeah, and that's what you want on vacation, like for sure. And if I have the dining plan, we're definitely doing that. Well, let me just say this. Something big that has changed since the last time we talked about the Disney dining plan is that the new Lightning Lane system has officially launched at Disney World. The Lightning Lane multi-pass and the single pass. And the reason that that comes into play with your Disney dining plan and your Disney dining in general is that you now pick your dining 60 days ahead and your lightning lane 7 days ahead, and you can be strategic to plan around those dining times. Whereas with Disney's old system, Genie Plus, you could be just given a time that overlapped with dining and it got very messy, and Disney had to give you special privileges to go into different time slots for your queue. I don't think that's going to necessarily be as easy anymore. And so you want to make sure that you're being very mindful as you're using your dining plan and you're picking where you're going to eat and you're getting in line for quick service, that you're also aware of where your lightning lanes are and that you can book around and be in the right locations in the park.
Yeah, they told us whenever we were in that dining plan training that the new Lightning Lane system basically everything's linked in your My Disney Experience account, all of your dining reservations, right? And so it won't let you choose a time slot for a Lightning Lane where you already are booked to eat somewhere. And so it's factoring all of those things in to make sure that your day is smooth and seamless. But you're right, it probably does make it a little harder to be like, hey, sorry I missed my Tiana's Bayou ride, but we were, eating down at Skipper Canteen. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Becki, when you go to Disney and you use the dining plan and you have older kids, how do you strategize it differently? Like, are you still going to those character meals? I mean, you did just buy a Mickey Halloween set for Mace, so like I think they're still very into it, but are you still doing that?
Honestly, we haven't done a character meal in probably 2.5 years, and Cape May was the last one that we did, which was fabulous. I find I'm doing character meals more when I'm doing like a one-on-one with kids or when I'm there with other adults. Character meals can be so fun for adults. Katie, I know you've done the character meals without your kids, and it's almost a different take on character meals because they're going to interact with you as an adult, and it's a very different interaction than if they're interacting with your kids. Actually, I'm going to take that back. We just did 1900 Park Fair when the characters came back. So, yeah, I what am I thinking? I clearly am going to character meals now.
you were going to character meals, lady.
I'm going to character meals, and I took McKenna, and it was amazing seeing Tiana in her new outfit. Oh my gosh. But I'm curious because I haven't seen the dining plan currently, like in the last year. I haven't seen it this year yet. What is it looking like if you're going to a character meal that takes two and you don't have 2 credits left? Do we know what that looks like?
That's a really great question, and it wasn't addressed at our event. I'm going to say that they probably, like, if you don't have the correct credit balance, they're probably going to just tell you you have to pay for it with your money.
Yeah.
Probably the way that it goes. I don't think that they have necessarily a monetary value assigned to a credit to be able to say, here's the balance left over.
Right. This is such a good reason why strategizing ahead of time. Like when I'm working with families and helping them plan, we will look at their dining, like what they want to do, and then make sure that it matches the amount of credits they're going to have. That's the worst, to show up to a reservation and maybe you have 7 nights in your stay. And so you picked 7 sit down locations, but early on in your trip, one was 2 credits and you didn't know or realize it. You're going to go to that last reservation and you're going to be out of credits. You have to be just hyperly aware and strategic, or be willing to just pay out of pocket for one of those experiences, depending on what makes the most sense for you. But the best strategies are going to be use those sit down credits on a character meal, maybe avoid those 2 credit meals, maybe that just really depends on your family and the experiences you're going to be having. And to be honest, I actually love Disney for this. and sometimes I don't love Disney for their decisions. I don't think that there are that many 2 credit meals. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I think some of the ones that I would have expected to be 2 credit meals aren't. For that, I'm very, very grateful. And the Fantasmic dining package, which I know we've discussed before, but a lot of restaurants at Hollywood Studios include priority seating at Fantasmic, the nighttime show. Those packages booked on cash are very expensive, and that price is going up. I'm hoping that we don't see a credit increase because so far for most of the Fantasmic dining packages, they're 1 credit.
Yeah, we're not going to see a credit increase, at least immediately. We're not. Whenever we were at the event, they did tell us, the price is increasing in August for people paying out of pocket for the Fantasmic dining package, but the credits are not increasing. And so it's extra bang for your buck. If you can go see Fantasmic and have a great meal, why wouldn't you?
Right.
And I have to take a moment here to tell y'all something. Allie, you and I talked in a prior episode about having good seating for Fantasmic, and you were like, we were sitting on the wings of the amphitheater, and you were like, that was bad seating. I wish we had like center seating like you get with Fantasmic. I have gotten that center seating now, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is definitely an elevated experience from sitting on the wings. But let me tell y'all something. This past weekend was my husband's birthday, and his favorite show is Fantasmic. And if I were a good wife, I would have made Fantasmic dining packages for his birthday reservations. I did not. And instead, what we ended up doing was walking into the theater 10 minutes before the show starts as a family of 5. Oh my gosh, it was such a mistake. So we're like, it's okay. Whenever you walk into the amphitheater, there's like a walking path that goes down to like most of the rows. But then there's also that small section that's like 8 or 10 rows at the top. I was like, that's okay. We'll just sit here in one of these rows here on the top. I'm sure it'll be fine. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst seating we've ever had for this show. And it was for my husband's birthday. I felt so bad. I was like, nope, we're just gonna get the Fantasmic dining package next time.
Yeah.
All seats are not created equal in that amphitheater. There's a reason why they save that middle section for people who are paying for the dining plan.
Mm-hmm.
The show is worth seeing no matter how you see it, but you're not getting the same experience no matter where you're sitting.
No way. Yeah, it was bad timing.
First of all, yes, everything you just said. And one of the other really good strategies would be sharing quick service meals for your kids. That's a big, big, big one. That's probably a great strategy to stretch out those quick service credits. And asking your server how to best use the dining plan wherever you're sitting. Like your server is going to know how you can best your plan. And so out of those best strategies, Katie specifically asking server for advice, sharing a quick service meal, using a Fantasmic dining package, maybe a character meal. Out of those strategies that we're talking about, how many did you utilize on your trip with the dining plan?
Pretty much all of them. I did my homework ahead of time. I researched which ones would be the best places to get the most bang for your buck, or places where people were like, oh my gosh, this was so much food for what we got. I really did a lot of research ahead of time to know how to maximize it, how to make the most of it. But just as you said, your server is going to know how to help you maximize it. Let me set the scene for you. So you're sitting at Steakhouse 71, which is a fan favorite here among us on the podcast. We love Steakhouse 71. But you sit down and you tell your waiter or your waitress, you say, listen, we have the dining plan. Can you tell us how to make the most out of it? And your waiter just says, girl, I got you. And he's telling you, you're going to order this glass of wine. This is what you should order off the menu. We were so impressed how the table service wait staff really knew how to make sure that you got the most out of it. We were so impressed with them. Definitely ask your table service staff, how can we make the most out of the dining plan? They're happy to help you.
Yeah, definitely. And did you feel like any of those were the best of the strategies? Like, were you like, oh yeah, this is where I feel the best bang?
I think of all the strategies, it honestly depends on what your pace is for your vacation. So let me pose it to you this way. Becki, you are usually going to the parks with teenagers. Would you say that your teenagers are park warriors? Are they like, let's go and do the things, or are they more relaxed?
I honestly feel like my teenagers are just as high maintenance as a toddler some days. They want to, well, I would say that they can be a park warrior, but it's hard to say as a regular because we do like to take things slow and take a midday break. Even if we're not leaving the park in the middle of the day, we
Hmm.
are still slowing down midday, which is why
Yeah.
in previous episodes about dining, that's why I end up placing my dining midday because we need to cool off
Hmm.
and slow down in the middle of the day. And that just tends to be what works for my teenagers.
So, if you're a family that knows that you want to go and maybe it's not, we have to hit every ride in the park, then, the Disney dining plan might be a really great choice for you because you're going to be slowing down in the middle of the day. But maybe, Allie, would you say that you are more of a park warrior family where you come down and you got to hit a lot of the rides?
God, no. We don't have a lot of park warriors in our family. Actually, that's not true. My kids,
That's not true.
yeah, our kids would be. It's just that we are not. The adults, me and Zay.
If you are coming down for a trip and it's on your list that you have to hit everything, you're like, I have to hit all the rides, it makes more sense for you to get the quick service dining plan, right? Because you have to make the most of your time in addition to making the most of your money. But to touch on what you had mentioned earlier about being able to share quick service and snack credits, a lot of people will ask us as travel agents, is it enough food for my family? If you have hungry teenagers, are they going to feel full after they eat this snack credit or this quick service credit? And the portions are great, but they're also shareable, right? So if you have 4 nights worth of credits for your family of 5, we're going to use 3 quick service credits here, and then, we'll use 2 here. It's a good way to save and to stretch and make the most of your meal as well, is what I'm trying to say. So whenever we were planning our first vacation, the dining plan was on hiatus. We did not have that option, but I was headlong looking at all the different foods that you can go have at Disney. I was a food tourist, okay? Like, Disney World is great, but I'm coming for the snacks. And so I remember planning ahead of time on our vacation. I want to try this snack and I want to try this one, right? So I love that by being able to share the meals from the credits, I would intentionally like not eat till I was full so I could go try something else later. And I loved that. I love being able to experience it all. And the credits enable you to do that a lot easier. We did mention on our last episode about this that snack credits are able to be used at the Epcot Festival booths. A lot of people are dying to go try those foods and drinks at the Epcot festivals. So it's great to be able to look at the menu, see that it has that little purple icon for a snack credit, and go use it. I love that so, so much.
Yeah, if I'm on a 5-night trip and I have 5 snack credits, I'm probably stacking them all and saving them for the festival and using them all there.
Yes.
Becki, would you? I mean, because then you can just buy a pretzel in the other parks and be fine.
On the snack credits in particular, so Allie, you just said a 5-night stay. So you're getting 5 snack credits, but that's 5 snack credits per person. So your family has 25 snack credits.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I can say that very, very rarely when we're stopping and getting snacks is every single person getting a snack. And so snack credits have a way of spreading out that way too, because we're going to stop and get a big cinnamon roll with our snack credit. And we're going to share the cinnamon roll. And so it lets your snack credits go further than we're not buying 5 cinnamon rolls, right? You may do it if you're going to get Mickey bars or something. Everybody's going to get a Mickey bar. But if you're going to use your snack credit at one of those other places, similar at the festival booth, when we do eating and drinking around the world, we're not getting 5 things at every single place. We're getting 1 or 2, maybe a drink and a snack at each of the
Yeah.
locations.
Yeah, people probably just freaked out when you said you get 25 snack credits. They're like, oh, we can't eat 25 snacks. But you can spread them out and make that work, truly. And if I'm just randomly thinking, and we just use that 5-night stay again. I have a family of 5. So boom, there's the 25 credits. I mean, I could use 12 and at an Epcot festival easily and be so happy.
Mhm.
And then you can go and have 13 left for the remainder of your stay. And that's plenty for my family of 5 to get pretzels and popcorn and maybe some novelty snacks and things. It definitely, that is something you want to do. And think about if you're going to be in the parks with a dining plan during those times of year.
I have to pop in because you said popcorn. Don't use your credit on buttered popcorn. Buy your family the refillable bucket and just get those cheap refills and save your credits for maybe caramel popcorn.
There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that a little bit too. So, as we were talking about where to use your credits so that you're maximizing them, maybe the better question is where not to use your credits so you're wasting them. If you pull up the My Disney Experience app, first of all, you can see how many credits you have by going under your reservations. You're going to go to your hotel reservations, and there will be a tab there that will show how many credits you have for your dining plan so you can monitor it. But I wanted to say too, in the app, it'll say this qualifies as a snack credit or whatever, right? And cheese sauce, $1 cheese sauce qualifies as a snack credit, y'all. Do not use your snack credit on the cheese sauce. That's a terrible use of a snack credit. Don't use your snack credit on a banana. Like, use your snack credit on, my favorite was the pineapple upside down Dole Whip at Aloha Isle. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing use of a snack credit. That was so good.
I've never had the pineapple upside down cake Dole Whip thing, but it's rather expensive, I believe.
Yeah, I went on the trip with another Smart Moms agent, Melissa from the Smart Moms blog. So all of our receipts are for the two of us together. Shout out to the Smart Moms blog. You should totally go over to the Smart Moms website and follow them on the blog as well. But I got that pineapple upside down cake, and Melissa got a Dole Whip float. And between the two of us, that was going to be like a $15 snack, which, I mean, I think that we have said before on the podcast that Disney is kind of banking on you spending about $6 or $7 for a snack credit. So that's a really good use of a snack credit to be able to, $15 between the two of us.
Yeah, exactly. Katie, you had never used the dining plan before, and you got to do it as an adult and make the picks that you wanted. So what were your best, final, most important impressions, things that you learned and highlights through your experience?
I'm definitely someone who I want to wring the value out of every dollar. So I did, like I mentioned before, I did the research to see where I could go to get the most bang for my buck. But I think really my bigger takeaway was sort of this less stress, more yes mindset, right? It helped me to realize that I probably hold on to tension a little bit more on my vacations than I realized I was. And if you're going to go on vacation, fully unplug, fully have that experience to be present with your family and be able to tell them yes. As a mom, I am more often than not telling my kids no to dessert, no to that toy or thing that they wanted. And so I love that my experience, even going myself, I was able to tell myself yes to that more expensive dining place or that more expensive item on the menu. And if you're going with a family, that yes is multiplied by every person that you're with. I love that. It makes me feel happier, and it makes me feel like my vacation is more all inclusive. It's already taken care of. You're going to be spending the money on food anyway. You might as well include it.
It's truly a strategy to include it, because I do believe that if you do these things that we're talking about, you will at minimum break even and likely end up saving at least a bit. I think there's a big misconception that you just lose money when you add the dining plan, that you pay more to pay ahead. And I just don't find that to be true through our strategizing.
So if I'm going out to dinner with my family just here around home, I'm making sure like I stick to the menu items that I know are good at that place. If I'm spending the money and I don't enjoy my meal, I just feel like a rain cloud over my head for the rest of the day, because I'm like, man, I tried this new thing, I didn't like it, and I still spent this much money on my meal. But whenever you have the meal plan, you feel more free to be able to try those new things. It was a little bit of a thing on social media while I was there. I do not eat any kind of seafood, any kind of fish product. If it comes out of the water, I'm not eating it, okay? But I really wanted to try new things while I was there. And so I got the lobster roll from Columbia Harbor House. I actually sent a picture to Stacy, our other podcast friend. I sent a picture to Stacy. I was like, Stacy, I ate the lobster roll. I tried it, and I normally wouldn't be willing to try that. But between two of us getting lobster rolls, that was a $50 meal for 2 adults to get those lobster rolls. Like, oh my gosh, I would never pay that out of pocket, but I had the freedom to be able to do that with the dining plan, with the meal credits. So I tried it, and it wasn't bad. I was proud of myself for trying it. I had more than one bite. It was great. I loved having the experience of saying, yeah, I've had that thing at Columbia Harbor House.
Yeah.
So it made me want to ask you guys, what is something that you wouldn't normally order at home, but you've tried at Disney and loved?
Becki, you go first.
I'd probably have to say something along the lines of fish stuff as well, because that's just not my go-to. I actually really loved that lobster roll as well, and it was the very first time I'd ever tried a lobster roll, and I was really, really impressed with it.
Mine would probably be that mushroom soup that we talked about at Storybook Dining, because I'm not always that adventurous. I'm getting better as I'm older, but I literally love that stuff. And I never would order it. And to be fair, at Storybook Dining, you don't order it. Like, you get a small version of every appetizer ahead of your meal. So it comes regardless. But Storybook Dining, that is one of those 2 credit meals that we talked about. And so you really want to eat all the food they bring to you. You really want to make sure you're trying everything, because it's an expensive meal, whether out of pocket or with credits.
It's kind of funny. I don't like grits. My husband grew up in the South. My girls all love grits for breakfast. I have tried grits in the past, and I'm like, that is not my jam. No way. I do not want to eat that. But on Disney property, I will literally go out of my way for grits. Like, it's almost laughable, y'all. We will be together as friends from the podcast at Steakhouse 71 Lounge, and everyone else is having a drink. And I'm like, can I please order a side of grits from the kitchen? Like, I love the grits on Disney property, even though I don't like them anywhere else. So go try the new things. Like, you probably will enjoy them.
Absolutely. And you're going to feel less pressure of like wasting that money.
Yes,
which is
absolutely.
Really beautiful. I think I would like to know from you, Katie, the restaurant specifically, like the restaurant experiences that stand out to you as the best. The best for 2 reasons. Number one, it was a great experience. And number two, it was a good use of your credits. What are the things that you can say, check both boxes from your trip?
So I'm going to cover each of these, and I'm going to talk about what I loved about them. But I want to really hear your takes. I'm going to dig in first with 1900 Park Fair, because, oh gosh, it was probably my favorite dining experience that I had on the trip. I'm going to bring up my receipts here just real quick while I'm looking. So for the 2 of us, if we would have been paying for 1900 Park Fair as 2 adults out of pocket, our total would have been $175.73, close to $200 for 2 adults. I definitely would not want to pay that on a regular whatever, but using the dining plan, I was like, okay, that's great. Let me talk to you about this experience at 1900 Park Fair. And Allie and Becki don't know this, but I'm putting them in the hot seat right now, because if you hearken back to our character dining episode, we recorded that before 1900 Park Fair was open, and we weren't able to rank 1900 Park Fair. So I'm putting you both in the hot seat. I'm going to talk about it, and we're going to rank it right now. So it's in our canon, it's in our podcast lore. I did 1900 Park Fair, and I was literally crying. It was such a great experience. At 1900 Park Fair, it is subject to change with every character meal, which ones are there all the time, right? But you can almost always count on seeing Mirabelle, Cinderella, Tiana in her new outfit, and Prince Ali as like Aladdin as Prince Ali. So I feel like it has a lot of bang for its buck, not to mention the relevance of Tiana and just everything with the new ride opening. They did tell us, by the way, side note, there are those beignets that are opening over in Magic Kingdom for a limited time. Those are eligible for a snack credit, by the way. Back to 1900 Park Fair. But it was an incredible experience. I really judge character meals hard for the pacing, because I want the meal to be good. I want the menu to be good. I want my value in my character interactions to feel good, but I also don't want to feel like I have to scarf down every bite before the next character is coming along. I felt 1900 Park Fair was pretty darn close to perfect. I had magical experiences with the characters. Even as an adult, they were connecting with me, and it was fun having those conversations differently than if my kids were there. And they do a wish makers ceremony at 1900 Park Fair where you write down your wish and you hold it up in the air, and crying, like full out crying during this wish makers ceremony. It was just so touching. Cinderella was coming around. She was coming and she was at the table beside ours. And there was a little girl there who I want to say was probably maybe 18 months, a little bit younger than 2 years old, probably. And Cinderella spent a good amount of time with her. She twirled with her. She danced with her. Melissa and I are sitting in our booth beside them, like trying not to cry. But on top of that, the food was so good. It's like your classic comfort food, right? The mashed potatoes, the chicken, the sausage, the prime rib. It was incredible. So here's my ranking. I am going to give 1900 Park Fair a 96.
I'm right there with you on 1900 Park Fair. It is seriously perfect. You have me thinking about that wish ceremony, and I was there with my middle child, McKenna, and I just pulled up the wish that she wrote down. And guys, it's like for real, it's like make you want to cry. She said, I wish to grow up and have a life that would make both young Kenna and future Kenna proud. And it's just like,
we're all crying now.
That's a teenager. For real, that's a teenager leaning in and writing down what they truly wish in their heart and meeting those characters. We had the characters, we talked to them, of course, but then we also had them each record a well wish to Macy for her graduation, because that's when we did it, was like the week before she was graduating high school. And so I have these 4 videos of Prince Ali and Tiana wishing her well after high school graduation and going into college. And it's just like, it was priceless. If I was rating it, I would 100% say it's easily in the 90s, like 95. It's amazing.
Wow, you guys are really selling this. Katie, do you have our ranking list from our previous episode available so we know where it falls? This is so sad and hard because I haven't done it since it reopened. So I have to, I guess, just take that into account. But I also trust you, Becki, and you, Katie, when you say these things are so special and magical. It is a restaurant that's on the monorail line, and it's the final remaining Magic Kingdom resort really, because even Wilderness Lodge has a character meal. And so it was the last one that needed its character meal to reopen. And now all of those resorts have one, which is great. But this one does stand out to be very special and unique for all the things that you just said. And its location is so spectacular, and it sounds like the food matches it just so perfectly. So I will just believe you all, and I will stick with this. But because I haven't been there, it makes it seem a little disingenuous to give it too high. So I'll go ahead and just call it a 90.
All right, I feel good about that. We will tabulate those and we'll include it in our updated character guide, which you can get if you join our Facebook group. So go on Facebook and search Smart Moms Plan Disney Podcast. And if you drop us your email, you will get that updated guide.
Absolutely. Yeah. We, along those same lines with that guide that you can get when joining our Facebook community, the podcast team, we also have an incredible vault of planning guides separate from the ones that we, as your Smart Moms travel agents, offer through our planning services. These are podcast specific guides that you can get just by being a loyal podcast listener and joining the Diamond Mine tier of our Patreon community. You can find that link in our bio. And we are constantly, every single month, cranking out another companion guide to an episode so that you are as much of a pro really as we are. And you're learning as you go, as you listen and as you read. And it's just something so fun that we feel excited to be able to offer everyone. Okay, what's your next best experience using the dining plan?
I chose Teb and Edo, and I actually texted Becki before the trip, and I was like, Becki, you've had Teb and Edo before. I think I remember saying you liked it,
Yes,
right?
I loved our experience. I know that it is very much reliant on who you get as your chef at this table service, because we had the most amazing experience. We actually ate there as a family of 5. All 5 of us was there, and all 5 of us would rank it in our top 3 sit down meals. Like we loved it. Our chef was singing Let It Go. Like I have video. I think I actually put a video on our social medias of our meal there, and she like spelled Disney with the oil on the thing. It was amazing.
Yeah, Tap and Edo was great. And whenever I did my research, it was very much this is a great way to maximize and get the bang for your buck for the dining plan. I'm going to throw you the numbers that we paid for 2 of us. It was $142.71 if we had been paying for out of pocket. But because we were using the dining plan, it was nothing. I will say that that's great.
Katie, on those numbers that you're giving, are they including tip?
That is including tax, not tip.
Yeah, tip is not included when you are using the dining plan. Tip is only included at Hoop-Dee-Doo Review and Cinderella's Royal Table, which are prepaid meals if you're paying out of pocket. So that does make a lot of sense because they don't really take any money there. You either pay for the experience in full at booking or you use the dining plan. So that makes a lot of sense.
I will say you can, and this was a question that came up, you can use a Disney gift card to pay for your gratuities, and that's a really good idea too. Like if you want to feel more like I don't have to get cash out at the end of the meal, I don't have to get a different credit card out at the end of the meal to charge onto it, just get a gift card and use that for all of your gratuities for your entire stay. And then it has that more all-inclusive feel that you didn't have to worry about it. Let me drop some more numbers on you here. I did tell you towards the beginning of the episode that my sake was going to be $19. Melissa got a pop, which was $5. Steak and shrimp was $48 for that entree. Steak and chicken was $46. Mango mousse cake was $11, and ice cream was $6.50. So if I was getting hibachi in town, I'm probably not getting hibachi at those prices, but getting it on Disney property at Tapanetto, the Disney magic extends through the meal. It extends through your waiters and your waitresses. It extends through your chefs that are singing Let It Go while they're making you your meal. Like, it's incredible. We had a great time. It was worth every penny, but we left that meal feeling so full.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say that as someone who was trying so hard to like maximize the dining plan and really use it to its fullest, that was a lot of food, y'all.
It is a lot of food, but it's so like because they give you rounds, like you're going to have a salad, you're going to have vegetables, you're going to have the meat. It's just delicious, but we can't gloss over the fact that Katie just called a soda pop.
No. It's pop.
You said pop, and I was literally like, why is she getting a cake pop at a Japanese teppanyaki restaurant?
Listen, Yins, it's pop.
I think I'm from a pop
goodness.
region, but I can't say it. I absolutely say soda. I just can't
It is
say pop.
soda.
I just can't do it. It's so weird. And I'm definitely I'm telling you, I'm from a pop region, and I just don't.
You're so funny.
All right, let's
What else,
what
Katie?
else?
What else?
Okay, so the next place was the Fantasmic Dining Package. And like I said, there's tons of bang for your buck there. There are a handful of places in Hollywood Studios where you can use those dining credits to get the Fantasmic Dining Package. Most of the options are 1 credit. However, Hollywood Brown Derby is a 2-credit meal. So I would tell you, touching back on those, should you use a 2-credit meal or not? It really comes down to this. Is it going to help you embrace that mindset of truly enjoying and doing whatever you want and being carefree? Then yeah, go use the 2 credits on the meal. Absolutely. But if your goal is, I want to stretch my dollar and make it as far as I can, I would probably tell you don't use those 2 credits, use them differently. But Hollywood Brown Derby was a 2 credit. We did not do Hollywood Brown Derby. We did Hollywood and Vine, which is another character meal. There's Melissa and I, us 2 adults, and we're going to all these character meals. It was hilarious. We had the greatest time, though. It was so fun. So we were there for dinner time, which means it's not the Disney Junior characters. They're only there in the morning. And it's like seasonal. It's Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Pluto who were there while we were there. And they were dressed up in their summer gear. So I got to ask Mickey, have you caught any waves? How's the beach? Like, he was so stinking cute. And Goofy bonded with me too. Oh my gosh, they were so sweet. But if you can believe this, I just told you guys we ate at 1900 Park Fair and we ate at Tep and Edo. And now I'm telling you that we ate at Hollywood and Vine. Which of those three do you think was the most expensive meal?
Tipañero?
I would have guessed 1900 Park Fair, but you said you did dinner, not lunch or breakfast. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes me question it might be this one.
It's this one. We, between two adults, our total would have been $194.90 on this meal.
In this situation, though, it was showing you the cost of the Phantasmic dining package, right?
Exactly.
I don't think that food is very good at Hollywood and Vine. I mentioned that on the original character dining episode. And to be honest, the pictures you were sending during your trip, I just thought did not look very good.
Aw.
But I do think that you did such a good job here picking this because this was a character meal and a Phantasmic meal, and it was one credit. That is like monster
Yeah.
strategy and value.
Yeah, I want to
Absolutely.
say too, like whenever, like one of these strategies for choosing which meals that you should pick and use your dining credits on, I know that you are often tempted to make that breakfast reservation to try to go enjoy or get into a park early before it opens to have that dining reservation. I would encourage you use your meal credits on lunch and dinner because dollar for dollar, lunch and dinner is more expensive than breakfast. So if your goal is to stretch every dollar, do lunch and dinner. Don't do breakfast.
Yeah. I mean, let me pop in here because breakfast, if you didn't do the Phantasmic, if you had just gone to Hollywood and Vine without the Phantasmic package, breakfast is $47 per adult plus tax and gratuity, $30 per kid, 3 to 9. But dinner is $63 per adult and $40 per kid. Clearly a better bang for your buck on your credit to use it as a lunch or dinner than to use it as that breakfast credit.
Yeah. The next one is a quick service place. I ate at Regal Eagle over in the American Pavilion at Epcot. And I know I told you guys just a little bit ago that I tried the lobster roll at Columbia Harbor House. And our total for that meal was literally $50.01 if we hadn't been using the dining credits, right? So that's an expensive quick service meal. It actually was not our most expensive quick service meal between the two of us, though. Our most expensive one was here at the Regal Eagle. But you get that giant platter, right? You're getting the platter with the ribs and the macaroni and cheese and the pulled pork and like everything, right? But the advantage here is even with the quick service dining plan, you still have alcoholic beverages included for quick service meals too, where it's offered, right? So at Magic Kingdom, they're not offering those alcoholic beverages at any of the quick service locations or anything, right? So I can't plus up my meal with my lobster roll over there by also getting, a beer with it. But here in Epcot, I could do that. So I was able to get the Tennessee lemonade that added to the dollar for dollar value of the meal. Between the two of us, that one would have been $53.75. So huge bang for your buck in terms of how much food you get and dollar for dollar your experience there.
And shout out in this situation, great use of your money on your Disney dining plan, but also have you listened to the quick service ranking episode for Epcot? Maybe you should go listen to that one to see how this one weighs out in that situation.
Yeah.
All right. And you haven't talked about any snacks yet, Katie.
Oh man, like I said, don't use your snack credit on the cheese sauce. Don't use your snack credit on a bottled water. Use your snack credit on those amazing Disney snacks that we have all come to know and love. I did talk a little bit earlier about the pineapple upside down cake at Aloha Isle. I get chills thinking about it. It is so good. It's very good. I love that. Another place that I got a snack that I want to mention was in Animal Kingdom. I got the Night Blossom over in the Pandora area. Listen, I'm a sucker for a slushie, especially on a hot day in the middle of July. Give me all the slushies, Disney, okay? So I did get a Night Blossom over there. It was over $7, so I felt good using that for my snack credit. But those are the two in particular I can remember. I can't remember what my third snack credit was. But yeah, it was a good use of it. Just make sure that you're using those snack credits on those fantastic snacks, right?
Yeah, and you know what I want to mention too that people don't realize, and I get asked this question all the time, is what if we're doing a down day and we're going to be at our resort, we can't use our credits? Not true. We've talked a lot about how you can use them in resort dining, character meals, we've touched on it. But in case you weren't putting those pieces together, your Disney World resort offers some variation of either sit-down restaurants or food court style offerings that are going to be able to have dining credits through the dining plan applied. So you can still use them at your resort on your down days. When we did our summer stay at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, they have so much food there. It's kind of surprising because it's a moderate resort. Like they have a sit down restaurant that requires reservations. They had 2 poolside options that you could order from, as well as a food court in the sort of main lobby there. So lots of different ways to strategize and use. And that's just one resort out of many that have really great ways to use this. So please don't think, well, we're not doing a lot of park time, so we can't use them. And for any Smart Moms travel agents listening today, because that was our example resort, the hidden Mickey will be Caribbean.
I love that. Since we sort of pivoted here to talk about resorts, don't underestimate the value of those resort refillable mugs. I do have the total here. If Melissa and I were each paying for our 2 resort refillable mugs, it would have been $46.84. $50 for pop. Yikes.
That seems so elaborate, but it really isn't when you're considering, one, you're getting a refill on it whenever you would like it at your resort. But those sodas add up. And it's not just soda, right? You can have tea, you can have coffee, and the convenience of having it and being able to refill it at your resort. At the end of the night, you're going to want to have a soda. At the beginning of your day, you're going to want to kick off with your coffee or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
You guys didn't realize this episode was truly going to just be the battle of pop versus soda.
What was the other one we had that everybody was so feisty over?
What was it?
Oh,
Kitty Corner. Kitty Corner versus Caddy Corner.
Right.
Was it Caddy Corner?
Yes, it's Caddy Corner because that's what I say.
And I will also say, you stated, we've already talked about this, Caribbean Beach versus Caribbean Beach.
Which one did I say? Because really in my head, I said Caribbean Beach, but when I was just talking, I was thinking about the buses. When you're taking the bus or on the Skyliner, it says, we're now touching down at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort.
Yeah, I say Caribbean.
That is so true. You said Caribbean.
I did. Okay. Yeah. But in my head, I keep
Yeah.
hearing the Skyliner later. She says Caribbean, I think. Anyway.
I wanted to say one more thing. There is an instance with the quick service credits where you can double them up. If you're staying at All Stars or maybe Pop, one of those quick service locations there at the resort where you can get like a whole pizza, they will let you use 2 quick service credits for a whole pizza. For your whole family, that is a really good use of 2 credits because we know that those pizza slices are enormous. I thought that that was a really great tip.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. This was such good insight. You know, we talked so much about the dining plan. We talked about how to use it, but it's so great to offer firsthand experience with it, where that was the sole focus. And so I'm hoping that if you're listening, you get tons of value out of this and you can really use our original dining plan episode as a companion to this one so you can understand the process and the strategy even better. That's our goal here, is to always provide processes and strategies and tips and fun and help you have the best trip, whether it's with somebody, you know, your significant other and just adults, or maybe you're taking your kiddos and once in a lifetime, whatever it is, we want you to feel really well prepared. I hope this was as helpful as we think it was. If you are listening to this on the day it drops because you already subscribe to the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast, thank you so much. Turn on those automatic downloads so it hits your device right away, right when it drops, and you are one of the first people to listen. That means so much to us. If you're one of our first listeners every single time an episode drops, you are helping us more than you can even imagine. So prioritize this on your Tuesday, and it'll help us just continue to provide so many helpful things for all of you that are listening. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. That's another great way to help us. We love that you're all looking forward to another vacation at Disney World. We will continue bringing you all the tips and tricks that you need to make that trip successful. And until next time, we'll see you real soon.